Aquarius. You should probably check in with a lawyer. Your only son might have gotten you and your husband into some hot water, Aquarius. Let's see. According to Ask Jeeves, there are 3 lawyers in your town that specialize in witch law. Okay, great news. Real good news, Aquarius. Maybe whenever you get off work today from your radio show, you should call them and tell them about the situation you're in, or you know what? Maybe just email them right now. Why wait? Aries. Like I said to you yesterday, I didn't teach him witchcraft. He just really loves shaping sticks into stars and hanging sacks of bird parts above a circle of candles. I know you're a man of science, Aries, and this is tough for you. Maybe someday our son will be really into math and physics and all that, but right now, he really likes wearing cloaks and sitting in dark corners with his back facing the room while mumbling in Latin. I think it's a Gen Alpha thing, like saying no cap and being on the World Wide Web. Anyway, let's talk when I get home, Aries, about how to handle our son's current situation. On a personal note, I'm fortunate that the lawsuit involving Esteban at Witch Camp was so amicably settled, and I hope we are all very welcoming to the new bear family in town. The bears were promptly sedated and caged by a commando team from the Night Vale Zoo. I'm sure they love their new home, which features luscious concrete floors, a beautiful flickering bear bulb, and an exciting crowd of onlookers gawking at them at all hours of day and night. But Carlos is concerned about Esteban's behavior since the camp. He has been a little withdrawn, scrying a lot, and pondering orbs. Carlos wants us to try sending him to a science camp to see if we can, balance things out. If any of you have ever dealt with your child being straight up a little witch, let me know what you did about that. I asked some of you at home to call in with your own horror favorites. Here they are.
Hey, sweetie. It's your favorite scientist, Carlos. I guess I didn't need to say my name. Anyway, okay, so I'm not much of a horror guy. If I want to feel scared, I just think about my child living on a planet totally reshaped by climate change. But if I had to pick one, it's a tough one. Oh, I got it. Love Actually.
Top story today is my sister Abby and her husband Steve agreed to babysit Esteban so Carlos and I could have a date night. You know what, listeners? My producer Elise is telling me that my date with Carlos is, in fact, not the top story of the day. The top story of the day is that my old friend Earl Harlan opened a new restaurant called Applebee's. Earl sat Carlos and me at the best table in the house, right between the fireplace, the rock climbing wall, and the bagpipe player, who honked out classic love songs by the masters of R&B. Lonnie Liston Smith, Sade, Insane Clown Posse, Kenny G, Husker Du. Only the best for me and my true love. Oh, Elise is telling me that this is also not today's top story, which, fair, I'll get to that in a moment. And now back to our top story, which actually has to do with my date night. Oh, and I have to interject here and say it wasn't only date night for me and Carlos. I saw Nazar Al-Mujahid and Francis Donaldson a few tables over pulling up turnips and spring onions. Archaeology professor and some kind of religious sect leader, Harrison Kipp, was there with a bunch of people in dark red robes. I thought maybe it was some kind of cult meeting they were having, but also they were all holding hands and laughing and sometimes kissing each other tenderly. So I think it was a group date. Josh Creighton was also there with that woman he met a couple months back at the festival. I think he said her name is Haley. Oh, they look so cute together. They were laughing and talking. I think this is going great for young Josh. He looked really comfortable and so happy. Wilson Levy and his wife, Amber Akinyi, were there. Not really a date night for them because they had their 6-year-old daughter Flora with them. Still, Flora was having a fun time cuddling the bees and eating Thai basil straight off the stems. I love it when children are exposed to a good diet. It's so hard to get Esteban to eat his vegetables. If he had his way, every meal would be chicken tenders and a ranch milkshake. Oh, and Michelle Wynn, owner of Dark Owl Records, was there with her partner and former intern of mine, Maureen Johnson. Maureen ordered the cassoulet, which was so cool because the server turned a lamb into sausage right at the table. It was pretty loud and a bit messy, but they have a very attentive waitstaff who mopped everything up before the meal was served. And Michelle ordered this dish that was titled Essence. It's basically an entire 5-course meal reduced to essential oils and then sprayed around the table. It was intriguing, but I went with the eggplant parm instead. Fortunately, they sat right next to us, so I got a whiff of Michelle's entree, and it smelled delectable. Also, they told me they ran into my friend and former mayor, Dana Cardinal, the other day. She's loving her job as a career counselor at the community college. I didn't know she got a new job, I said. She's been there 4 years, Cecil, Michelle scoffed. Oh, jeez. Maureen showed me a photo of the two of them with Dana from a hiking trip they all went on. Oh, Dana grew her hair out. It's gorgeous, I said, and they both stared at me, and Maureen said, yeah, a few years ago, yes, and I... Yes, Elise? Top story on it. Okay, now on to our real top story. I hope you're happy, Elise. The Night Vale City Council unanimously approved the immediate emergency construction of a new monument to town founder Tabitha Littlefield, who re-emerged from a chrysalis last year and has been wandering around town eating people. No one seems to be able to stop her. So, around the time that Carlos and I were looking at the dessert menu, which was spectacular, by the way, Earl had all the classics. A New York cheesecake, a Boston cream pie, a Cleveland fun dip, an Iowa City pudding shot, and even a Spokane sherbet, which I believe is made with blue cheese and dashi. Ugh, yum. We were trying to decide between the pudding shot and the sherbet when we heard a shout. We looked up and saw Josh and Haley leaping backward in fright. The door to the restaurant was wide open, and standing right up front was Tabitha Littlefield. And now, traffic. Sometimes I think about my heart, this tiny muscle that just has to keep going and going for as long as I do. Through my happiest moments, as I slipped the ring on my husband's hand, as Esteban looked up for the first time at me with his tiny, wondering eyes and reached up to pull my hair, at my lowest moments, when I say something to Carlos during a fight and I didn't mean it, but I know I've gone too far, and he'll forgive me, sure, that's what a marriage is, an ongoing celebration and an ongoing forgiveness, but the hurt will stick somewhere just a little, and I'll never be able to take it back. When I used to run in circles around the lawn as a child, imagining stories longer and more complex than any novel, a continuous imaginary life running parallel to my real one. When I sat by my mother's bed in the hospital and understood that this was the shape of the rest of her life, that it wasn't going to get better, just different shades of bad. Through all of this, my heart beat and beat, and it cannot stop, just as I cannot stop, because sometimes I am exhausted, and sometimes I am floating in a reverie, And sometimes I am so in love, and sometimes I want to close my eyes and sit in a dark, quiet room for the rest of my life, but I have to keep going and going for as long as I can, just like a heart, just like my heart. This has been Traffic.
Now back to the Vanston murder investigation. Much like Dana, I don't have any formal detective training, other than being a hard-hitting investigative journalist. So I asked my scientist husband, Carlos, what he would do. And even though he was totally preoccupied with his experiments at the Pinkberry, he thoughtfully mumbled on his way out the door that I should try Googling it. Listeners, my husband is a brilliant man. I took his advice and immediately discovered a WikiHow article called How to Solve a Murder, parentheses, with Pictures.
Today is the second night of Hanukkah. It's so cute in our household. Carlos has built his own menorah out of beakers. It's really cool. Although we do all need to wear welding goggles the entire Hanukkah dinner, or at least until the radioactive green glow goes away. But that only takes 5 to 8 hours. I do have more community news to share, but I'm not sure if there's a point. Actually, if someone could call into the station just to let me know they're listening, that would help a lot. You don't even have to talk on the air or anything. You can just let the phone ring once, so I know you're out there, that someone hears me, that what I'm doing matters to even one person. The phone lines are open. Well, I guess that tells me everything I need to know. Me? I'm going to go have a look at the night sky. With the streets so dark and empty, the stars are really popping off, y'all. Oh, I just got a text from Carlos. He says, great show tonight, honey. Sorry I couldn't call earlier. I was wearing my science gloves and doing beaker stuff. If you want any company while stargazing, I just got a new high-powered infrared telescope and we can check out the sulfuric acid clouds on Venus, or the burning satellite constellation. Oh, or the hobgoblin of the Milky Way, if you want. That sounds just perfect, sweetie. I'll be home soon. And thanks for listening. It means a lot to me. It's great to be satisfied doing things for and with yourself, but you know what? It's even better to do them with a ridiculously sexy scientist who you're madly in love with. Freeze frame. The end. My husband Carlos, who is the bravest scientist who ever lived, closed his labs today. Even I, the most intrepid radio journalist alive, am having to do my show from home. Though I did ask my producer, Elise, to go up to the station so that she could patch my ISDN line through to the radio tower. Personally, I find a work-from-home day kind of nice, because I get to see my family. Carlos, right now, is teaching our son Esteban about plants. They're growing an avocado plant from a seed on the windowsill. Carlos is explaining how plant life grows from seeds. In fact, how all life is a miracle of science, that each of us grows from tiny cells into a full person. Today, in the Children's Fun Fact Science Corner, we're discussing how life is created. I'm actually learning all this for the first time myself, as Carlos is trying to explain to our 9-year-old son that you can't grow an avocado plant in a day. Life is a slow process. It needs a seed, fertilization, water, sunlight, warmth, and nutrients. Each day, the tiny seed grows a bit more, changes imperceptibly. It sprouts roots and limbs, or in the case of a boy, it grows taller and stronger. You can't see the change, but it's happening. Millions of cells dividing every day. Science only seems like magic, but it's actually an observable miracle, Carlos is saying to Esteban, but Esteban is just shaking his head no. Maybe he needs a nap. He looks grumpy. Esteban has picked up the avocado seed, held half in the cup of water by toothpicks. He's pulling out the toothpicks and cradling the seed to his chest. He's whispering something to it. Now he's placing it on the floor and pressing it down into the carpet. It seems to be sinking as if the rug were soft, unpacked loam. Esteban is turning his body east, lifting his hands high and uttering an incantation for the gods of nature. A small vine is emerging from the floor. It's growing thick with leaves and bulbs. Oh, that's now a full-grown avocado plant. Esteban looks so proud of himself. He's really into this witchcraft thing. Carlos looks dejected. No, honey, I'm sure it's just a phase. He'll learn to love science just like I did. Oh, you're cute when you smile, you know? There you go. Mwah. Well, this has been the Children's Fun Fact Wizardry Corner. Sure. Carlos, what is happening out there? Oh God. Okay, listeners, the avocado plant has grown to the ceiling and is rapidly twisting itself around the living room. I need to go save Carlos and find Esteban. Okay. Oh, that was close. So, thankfully, I was recording this show from my study where I keep all my books, including Plantopedia, The Definitive Guide to Houseplants by Lauren Camilleri and Sophia Kaplan. It's the collector's edition, which comes with a small electric chainsaw. I managed to cut Carlos free from the branches which had wrapped around his throat and chest. Then we found Esteban in the corner crying, because he knew he was in trouble for doing unapproved magic. We explained to him, sternly, that people can get hurt if you're not careful. This is true for magic, for science, even for journalism. We sent him to his room and told him to take a nap. He's not in trouble, but we wanted to talk to him at dinner and before watching any videos. Carlos is cutting up what's left of the giant plant. It's going to take more than a day to clean all this up. But the avocados it grew are the size of Affin pinchers, so I guess we'll have guacamole for the whole neighborhood. All I'm saying is you're welcome to keep working if you think you have to, but I'd urge you to get outside, sweep your lawn, steal the last bit of sunshine, and then make dinner with your husband, with your son, maybe a dessert, maybe play a game. Maybe you can still catch the latest episode of Antler Cove after the kid goes to bed. Remember that work can visit your home, but it's not welcome to stay the night. Stay tuned next for the sound of a tired scientist digging through the cabinets for that danged molcajete we got as a wedding present, but have never actually used. As always, good night, Night Vale. Good night.